Hey guys, what's up? How are you? Are you doing well? I really hope you are. In today's episode of the most absurd crimes that took place in Greece over the years, we go back in 1996 in Thasos Island in Greece, where we find Theofilos Sechidis. Theofilos Sechidis was always a troubled child, really closed off. That's what his parents thought of him. Theofilos grew up in a family that was located in an island in Thasos, and the societies there, they always gossip and they always have something to say. So Theofilos' father tried to keep everything regarding his family a secret. Now, before we go to what happened, let's take a little bit of the backstory so we can continue further. Theofilos' father and mother met at Limeni in Thasos. He was a teacher, high school teacher. He was a teacher, and he went there and met his future wife, and they decided to stay there. He wanted to become headmaster in one of the high schools in Limeni, but they refused to make him a headmaster in one of those schools. They kept making him a headmaster in other areas of the island, which was something that he was disappointed with and something he didn't quite like. So that made him ask to be removed from the list of teachers, and that also took a toll in his mental health and also his family situation, because he was moody and disappointed, and that took a toll on his family. Theofilos had an older sister, Hermione, or I think so, Hermione. Let me check to have the names right, because there are a lot of names, so I want to make sure that I remember them correctly. Yes, the name is Hermione. Hermione, around the age of 14 or 15, she was diagnosed with schizophrenia. So the parents decided to keep her inside to avoid the rumors and the gossiping of the village. It was really bad and she was on medication, but the family refused to actually lock her inside an institute to get the help that's needed, mostly because they were afraid of the rumors and what the world would think about their child being sick. So they kept her inside, they took the medication, she went for checkups. Sometimes she would run from the house and go outside and stroll, and of course people would see her and would talk. Those were the two kids of the family, Theofilos and Hermione. Now let's go talk a little bit about Theofilos. Sorry, I cut this off. So Theofilos was the second child of the family. He was a really closed off child. He went into theology school, and then he gave up and took exams again and gone into law school in Komotini. Most people that saw him, they said that he was really acting weird. He was wearing the same clothes every single day, and he seemed a little bit lost. He was weird, according to them. The first what was the beginning of everything was the coming of his uncle Vasilis in Athens from Germany. Vasilis came to Athens because Theofilos' dad Dimitris had called him and informed him about the situation, and Vasilis decided to come and help the family deal with Theofilos and his weirdness, to say the least. Theofilos was caught by surprise by the coming of his uncle into the city, into the island, and let me say the word. So the first person to disappear, as I was saying, was his uncle Vasilis. His aunt Eleni, who was living in Germany, kept calling in Greece to communicate with her husband, but after a while communication was not able because her husband was no longer alive, and neither were the other family members, which we will get to in a minute. Theofilos acted like he had no idea what was going on. He kept saying that the family left and went abroad, and he was always finding out excuses to share about the family being gone. After a while, those excuses ran out, and his aunt went to the police to speak about this disappearance and her worrying and everything. Theofilos was acting like he was surprised as well. After a while, he was caught by the police for a different reason. He was caught because he was carrying a gun in his car, and he was dealt with 70,000 drachmes. It was the currency that we had in Greece at the time, as a fine, and he paid it off, and then he was gone. And afterwards, he went to visit his aunt in Thessaloniki, I believe, where she was staying and looking for her husband and the rest of the family, acting like a worried son and a worried nephew, and that caused more speculation around his name, until eventually his words gave him away and he was caught and brought to the police station, and that's where he finally came clean about killing his uncle, his father, his mother, his sister, and his grandmother, because according to him they were all plotting against him and they were all threatening him. To be more specific, he said in his apology at the court that each one of them was holding a knife or another kind of weapon, and they were threatening him and were trying to hurt him, so he was in self-defense while he was committing the murders. After he committed the murders, he cut them and he kept their brains in the freezer for further research, as he said, and then put their bodies in trash bags and went from Thasos to Kavala to toss them in trash cans, I'm sorry. And then he went back. After a while, they were found and everything led to him, so he was caught. There's not much more to say except that he was delusional and he thought the entire world, especially his family, was against him and they were wanting to hurt him and lock him up in a psychiatric ward. So he thought that he was in self-defense, he didn't do anything wrong when he killed them. At the age of 46, he was found in his cell in jail. He was found tied up and dead. So rumor has it that he had committed suicide, and that's how his story ended. He still remains one of the most vile criminals, and this remains one of the most absurd crime cases in Greece. If you have any questions, let me know down in the comments. Of course, I might have missed some parts. There are a lot of details in each crime story, but some of the details are too much to share, too graphic, and some of the details are from what people heard, so they're not like legit. So if you have any more information about the case, I would love to hear about it. If you enjoyed this video as much as you can, of course, give it a big thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next episode of the most absurd crimes in Greece. See ya.